As a realtor, your image and reputation is everything, which is why making sure your profiles, images are updated, accurate, and reflect who you are as a professional is critical. At REMAX Results, we've created a complimentary online audit to help you make sure that your online presence is an accurate reflection of you for your customers. So if you're interested in having this complimentary guide, shoot us an email, podcast@results.net.
I think the nice thing about working with first-time homebuyers right now with rates being where they are is they don't know any better. And so a lot of my clients who are move-up clients or have bought and sold before, they're like, wow, rates are high, but my first-time homebuyers are kind of rose-colored glasses. Like our lease is up in June anyways, we have to go somewhere. So either we throw more money at rent or we throw it at a mortgage. I'm really first-time homebuyer heavy. They just don't know any different.
Hey everybody, today on the Results Driven podcast, we have one of our sales executives, Sierra Bethea. She is out of our Highland Park office. She's been with Results now for about a year.
Just under
a year. She's been in real estate for a few years. We're gonna get to know Sierra. We're gonna talk about where she's at, and we're gonna talk about the fact that she is a homeowner. And she's literally going through a real estate transaction. She sold her condo and they're buying a house right now. So now we get to basically see what it's like when a doctor performs surgery on themselves, right? What that experience is like. So, but let's get to know Sierra first. Sierra, where are you from?
I am originally from central Wisconsin, super small town, graduated high school, 60 people.
Where?
The town is called Neilsville. A lot of people don't know, but
I know Neilsville.
Population's like 1,700.
They got a quick trip there.
We do have a great quick trip, yes, and a great subway, best subway in the U.S., I would say.
So you a Packer fan?
I am a Packer fan, yeah, unfortunately. I wish I was a Vikings fan. I lived right by the stadium, and on Viking Sunday, I was like, gosh, it'd be so fun to be a Vikings fan, but I just couldn't convert.
Isn't that weird? Like it's just it's in your blood and you can't shake it.
It is, yeah. My dad's a diehard Packer fan, so it's not that I just grew up in Wisconsin. It was like I grew up like we watch Packer games every Sunday.
My wife's from Wisconsin and my oldest daughter was born in Wisconsin, and that's a hill that they will die on.
Same.
Yeah,
yes.
It's just, and I can't meet them halfway.
I couldn't convert to a losing team. If the Vikings were...
Oh, come on now.
I mean, if the Vikings are really good, I maybe could convert, but...
You're in sales. You should really not be insulting all of your potential clients because you're making enemies right now.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now.
Only to you, Ed, not to clients. I wouldn't say that to clients.
Fine. Well, we'll see how this year shakes out because we got a quarterback.
Yeah. A new quarterback.
We've gone through many.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Kirk Cousins, so maybe now I'll...
Okay. All right. Well, you'll never be a fan, but fine.
Yeah.
We can agree.
But I do cheer for the Vikings if they're not playing the Packers. I'm not that Packer fan that doesn't. Okay. You know how some Packer fans are like...
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're back. We're friends again.
Yeah.
All right. So how'd you get to Minnesota?
So after I graduated college, I was working for a nonprofit. Did that for about 6 months. And then wanted to make a little extra cash. So I got my real estate license in Wisconsin. And I walked into Edina Realty there because that was the closest real estate firm by my apartment in Eau Claire, the Chippewa Valley office, Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire office. And I walked in there and I said, do you guys know how I get my real estate license? And the office administrator basically ate it up. And she's like, of course I do. And we'll pay for you to do it if you come here. And I was like, okay. And so like 2 months later, I had my license and had my best friends wanted to buy a house. A week later, after I got my license, they saw a house on Zillow for sale by owner, unfortunately. And they're like, we love it. We want to see it. And so I had just gotten my license back from the state. So I brought them. They wrote an offer and I literally went to the kitchen table and presented it to the owners because the house was for sale by owner. And that was my first ever transaction in real estate. It was my best friends who a week after I got my license wanted to buy this house.
Are you a blue gold?
I am a blue gold, yes. I transferred my junior year, but I was a blue gold technically, yes.
Okay, I'm a blue gold.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did we know that?
I don't know if we
I
knew
transferred
that.
to Stevens Point, but that's a whole, whatever is family.
Eau Claire, great town.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
So I moved back there. I transferred to Stevens Point and then moved back to Eau Claire after I graduated. So I lived there selling real estate for like 9 months before I moved here.
Okay, if anyone's wondering what a blue gold is, it is the mascot of the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. People ask, what is a blue gold? And it's not a thing, it's a state of mind.
It is, yes. But I did see Jim.
Advertisement for
Chancellor.
Eau Claire.
Yeah, right. When in doubt, go to Stout. If not there, try Eau Claire. When all else fails, River Falls, I think is the saying. But
Oh, man.
I know, it keeps going. But I saw Chancellor Jim on a flight once, and I said, Chancellor Jim, like I went to UW Eau Claire. He goes, when did you graduate? And I said, well, I transferred, right before I graduated, unfortunately. And he's like, once a blue gold, always a blue gold. And so now I just say I'm a blue gold because I went there for 3 years before I transferred.
Good for you for being able to recognize the chancellor. I don't even know if I'd recognize any of my own professors if I saw them.
He's a recognizable guy.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
yeah.
Well,
That
cool.
enough said. Yeah.
All right. So then you're selling. So that's interesting. So you started on the Wisconsin side, which Wisconsin and Minnesota, although they're neighbors, could not be more different in many ways when it comes to real estate. The way they approach their forms, a lot of things, just a lot of differences. But so when did you come over to the good side of the border?
So I moved over here in end of 2018. And I didn't know anybody in Minnesota, so I thought I'm going to keep my Wisconsin license for a while because I knew so many people in Wisconsin and had those connections. So I started working for a nonprofit in East St. Paul, a food shelf doing communication, outreach. And I worked with a lot of people at 3M and like Wells Fargo, big corporations. So I started to meet people. And then I thought, now that I know people, maybe I should get my Minnesota license. So I just wanted to live in a bigger city. So I thought maybe I'd leave real estate on the back burner till I was like in my 30s or 40s. Got back into the nonprofit world, but wasn't making enough money to pay my rent in St. Paul. So I thought maybe if I could have 1 or 2 sales in Minnesota a year. So I got my Minnesota license, and then in my first year I had 33 sales in Minnesota. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to work at my nonprofit anymore. So I just quit that and started full time.
Okay. Do you miss it?
Yeah, I think my ultimate goal, I kept saying, I don't want to work at a nonprofit. I want to make enough money so I can help nonprofits, like sit on boards and like financially donate to them. I haven't gotten super involved with nonprofits since I've said that, but I've been involved with like United Way, Big Brothers Big Sisters kind of throughout the last 5 or 7 years. But yeah, I definitely want to get more involved now that I'm kind of on my feet in real estate. And
Cool. Well, the Results Foundation is always there if you ever want to get involved with.
yeah, I do know a lot about nonprofits, and that's like all my internships. And
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should do that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, and again, 33 transactions. That doesn't leave a lot of time for other things. That's a busy person selling that many houses. How did you get to that point?
I think my first 8 houses were off of open houses. My first 8 transactions were from open houses. So I think I would say my conversion rate was like every 6 or 7 open houses I would pick up 1 buyer.
Okay.
So I kind of made that my bread and butter. So I was doing 4 or 5 open houses a week. So I was really just killing myself doing open houses.
And that would have been pre-pandemic. Right.
Yes, just before the pandemic.
Just before the pandemic. So then what did you do through the pandemic? I mean, still open houses?
Because this was like middle of 2019. I think by the time the pandemic hit, I was doing less open houses just because I was starting to get referrals, and I was starting to get some of my fiance's friends were buying houses. Some of my friends from UW Eau Claire were moving here buying houses. But still through the pandemic, when they were allowed, I was still like doing masked open houses and meeting people that way. But yeah.
That's a pretty dramatic from, kind of not really just getting your license and working another job to 33 transactions full time. Is there anything besides open houses that you attribute that to? Is it just your network or your approach in this that caused that just flame to burst?
Yeah, I think my first year in the business, it was a combination of 3 things. I would say open houses, my sphere. So I was doing all these events, like first time homebuyer events for my sphere. And sometimes one of my friends would show up, but I still would have like beer, snacks, a presentation ready to like show them.
Beer, Wisconsin.
Yes, beer. And so that would like entice people to come. So I would do those events a lot. And a lot of times they were like failed attempts. Like one time I dropped off, I think like 300 flyers to different apartment buildings around like West End and Golden Valley where I had then been renting. And no one showed up. And I dropped off 300 flyers, but I think it was like trial and error of trying different things to see what would work.
Okay.
And then the third thing I would say I attribute is I heard about like Realtor.com leads, and I thought, okay, I can't afford to buy leads right now through like Zillow or anybody that would charge you to pay for leads. So a different agent that I knew from EXP, ironically, was telling me, yeah, like I, have had success with Realtor.com leads. So when I was at Edina Realty, I signed up for Realtor.com leads, and I think I had 11 sales my first year in real estate from Realtor.com. So just my conversion rate, I think I was like the top in the state for conversion rate for Realtor.com leads for like 2 years in a row. So I just was really good at like, getting on the phone and meeting random strangers at houses and converting them to sales. Yeah.
I'm kidding. So do you still get those leads?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm just referral based, so I don't do them anymore. But my first 2 or 3 years in the business, I did Realtor.com leads.
Yeah. So you just take something and try things, trial and error, right?
Yeah.
But just getting out there and making an effort, even if you drop off 300 flyers and nobody comes, you pivot, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like with Realtor.com leads too, I mean, they would connect you with a potential buyer on the phone. That person, you don't know anything about them. They want to see a house. Most of the time they're not pre-approved because they're just submitting an inquiry to see a house on Realtor.com. And so a lot of times I'd drive out there and then show them the house, and then it turns out they couldn't get pre-approved because their credit was too low or because of one reason or the other. So I think I just had the mindset of, okay, if I just do this 10 or 15 times, one of them will work,
right.
And
Sure.
so a lot of people will say, shoot, I did it once and now the client couldn't get pre-approved. What a waste of time. But I saw it as like, okay, if I do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 in a week, one of them will give, So I think that's how I thought about open houses too, is like one of them will.
Just casting the lines in the water if someone's got a bite.
Yep. Yeah.
So, all right. So how are things going now? Like where do you feel like your business is at right at this moment in time?
Yeah, I think when I first started in real estate, I thought I can't wait until the day I'm solely referral based and I'm just waiting for the calls and emails to come in from past client referrals. And so I'm at that point in my career now, which feels really great. It's like usually once a week or once every other week, I'm getting a text or an email, like a past client gave me your name and said I should reach out to you. I'm looking to buy or sell. So it feels really good to not have to do the open houses anymore and not have to do the online leads. So now I'm just referral based, which is really nice.
But what do you do to keep cultivating that sort of connection with your past clients? How are you making sure that they're not kind of forget about you? Are you just that unforgettable that they
that's it. No.
Okay.
I do my client appreciation events. So I do 2 client appreciation events every year. And the last one I had 75, 80 people. And so I need to start renting out a bigger space because they've kind of grown. And a lot of my past clients have sent me referrals, so they'll all come together and then it's kind of like a big event for them.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I did my first one, I thought if my insurance agent ever had an event, I would not be caught dead going to an event my insurance agent would have. So I thought no one's going to show up. And then my first one I had, I think like 40, 45 people. So usually I'll just rent out a brewery space and I'll have a local.
Again, Wisconsin. Beer.
Yeah, beer. It all revolves around drinking. I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah. So they're usually, my client appreciation events are always at breweries. I always have a local company cater the food. I always do drink tickets. Usually I do 2 or 3 drinks is what I say. And then people come up to me and ask for more tickets. So I usually just do open bar. And it's kind of become this event where people come and a lot of my past clients know each other because of my sphere and things like that.
Yeah.
I am going to do one next summer that's going to be in a park with like a bunch of food trucks and have like a face painter because a lot of my clients have kids who don't come to my client appreciation events when we're at breweries. So I think client touches are super important in building those relationships. If my clients have kids, I always send like a basket to them to say congrats or stop by and visit. So I think just keeping on top of clients, and every time I get a referral from a past client, I either stop by and drop off a bottle of champagne to say thank you or, shoot them a message. And
that's awesome that you're keeping those clients and, the fact that they are willing to come, meet, hang out with you or whatever, just must show that the relationships that you're building through the process as well of that real estate transaction.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of real estate transactions, because they can be very stressful, they can be a little daunting to deal with. So, as we were sitting down, you mentioned that you just closed on your condo and you're buying a house.
Yes.
So, tell me about what that has been like to go through, this process of selling and buying a house as a realtor, but also as a person, a buyer and a seller, like the principal in the transaction.
Yeah. So I've only ever bought properties. So today our condo sold. And so this was my first time ever being a seller. And we have 3 rental properties. So I'm used to the buying process, but I thought, how much worse can the selling process be? Well, I'll tell you, it's very stressful. Getting the condo ready, cleaning it for showings. It was on the market, unfortunately, for 5 or 6 months. We had 33 showings. So leaving for showings, cleaning for showings. We have a dog, so getting the dog out for showings. And I was telling all of my friends and past clients, I have a new appreciation for sellers, because getting your house ready for showings, especially when you care about keeping your house clean and it showing really well, is extremely stressful. And then buying at the same time, making sure that, moving process is coordinated with, well, we need to close on the condo to buy the new house. I have a new appreciation for all of my clients who are doing that at the same time, because it is way more stressful than just buying. I think 70% of my transactions in a year are first-time home buyers, so I don't deal a lot with people selling and buying at the same time. And I do it, but I have a new appreciation because it was very stressful.
Yeah. So how's your fiance?
Yeah.
How has that process been, working with, where you're representing sort of the couple, right? Any friction there? Any sort of like
Eds wants the tea.
Yeah.
I would say, I think, when we accepted an offer on our condo, it was lower than what we paid for our condo 2 years ago. So we did take a loss on the condo, thinking it would be a long-term place, or thinking we could rent out the condo once we were ready to move out. But rental comparisons in the building just wouldn't even have us breaking close to even on our mortgage payment. So that's why we decided to sell instead. And I think, the buyers who submitted an offer on our condo came in really low. And then I kind of said, well, I know they love it, so let's counter. And my fiance said, let's just take it and be done. And I was like, well, that's not how negotiations usually work. So he was we were both ready to be done with it. But, I think he is like really good at cleaning and keeping things neat compared to most, guys. And so he was like a huge help getting the condo ready for showings and things like that. And he actually just got his real estate license yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Back from the state. So yeah, he will be working. I will be his boss, but he's going to keep his full-time IT job. But, for showings on weekends and stuff, he's going to be a big help. So
cool. Okay. So is he going to be in full-time agent, or was he going to be like an RSS kind of support?
He'll be result support services. So he can just do showings for me. He can't write offers or anything, which I think is good. I'll keep him on a tight leash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So.
All right. Good. And then, so then you close on your purchase here in a couple of days?
Yeah. So we close on the house in a couple of days, which is in South Minneapolis, which is a really competitive market. So we actually found the house. It was listed last year, and then I found the seller of the house's number on like a garden forum for the Southwest Minneapolis Garden Forum. I found.
So you're doing some stalking here or something, or doing some deep dive research here?
Yes, which I do this for my clients too. It wasn't just for us, so I can use this example.
Kind of like an expired listing or something?
It was a canceled listing. It was only on the market a few days last year. She had listed it thinking she was going to write an offer on a townhouse that she didn't end up getting, so she pulled the listing and was going to list it again this year. So I found her number online, and I called her, and I said, I'm sure you're getting hundreds of calls from agents, and she's like, I am. And then I said, I don't want to list your house. I potentially want to buy your house. I'm an agent. Can my fiance and we would be the buyers, come take a look at it. And she's like, yeah, do you want to come over in an hour? And so we went over there and saw it and wrote an offer. So I think we were lucky to get into the neighborhood we got into, because it's really competitive. And yeah, so it was very interesting.
Awesome. Well, okay. Well, so that's a enterprising approach. Yeah. In a low inventory, challenging market for sure.
Yeah.
You could have just sent her a letter too, right?
Yeah, or door knocked, which I was scared to do. But yeah, so I called her, and she's very receptive.
Cool. Okay, well, that'll be exciting.
Yes.
Out of the So where are you just living in? Are you living here at the office? Like where are you?
Yeah, I'm homeless for a few days. I'm just like couch surfing, staying with some friends who all of my friends, I've sold them their houses. So I'm like, you guys have to let me stay. You wouldn't be here if I didn't sell you this house, And so I am staying at a friend's house who I sold them the house last year in Bloomington. So yeah.
I'm now remembering that there were a few times that Yeah, it felt kind of silly. We're like, we're kind of homeless. Can I come sleep in your couch?
Yeah.
It's like calling my cousin and just, can we just crash with you guys for a couple of days here? You have to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the great thing about the pods and everything. You can put all your stuff there, but you gotta.
Yeah.
still gotta
So
go
we kept
somewhere.
our stuff in a U-Haul, and then we feel bad. The friends that we were staying with, and Matt's on his bachelor trip this weekend, so I'm homeless. He's on a golf trip, but yeah. And so the friends we're staying with, first it was, can we sleep on your couch or the guest bedroom? And then all of a sudden it was, shoot, all of our stuff doesn't fit in the U-Haul. Can we also move some stuff into your basement for a few days?
Yeah.
So it kind of added up of the favors, but we will treat them to a nice gift card. Or,
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Nice. How would you describe the market, especially for first-time homebuyers that you say you work primarily with, or a lot of your clients are first-time homebuyers? What's the market been like for them? What's, how any successes or particular challenges that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I think the nice thing about working with first-time homebuyers right now, with rates being where they are, is they don't know any better. And so a lot of my clients who are move-up clients or have bought and sold before, they're like, wow, rates are high. But my first-time homebuyers are kind of rose-colored glasses. Like, our lease is up in June anyways. We have to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So either we throw more money at rent or we throw it at a mortgage. So I think the nice thing about me working with so many first-time homebuyers, and it kind of ebbs and flows. This year, I'm really first-time homebuyer heavy. I think is they just don't know any different, right? They see rates and they're like, well, we don't know what it was like when rates were in the 2s or 3s because they weren't in the market then. So it's been kind of relieving and a breath of fresh air to have them not talk about rates, really. A lot of my first-time homebuyers are just like, well, we're refinance if, that's the right decision at the time, and make sure we're comfortable with our monthly payment now.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. Is a lot of my move-up clients are kind of holding steady, but my first-time homebuyers are just gung-ho, going for it.
And they're just comparing the interest payments to the mortgage payments to what their rents are going to be, and they're all in on buying a house still.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where rents are at right now.
Right. Yeah. A lot of my clients say they're paying $2,500 in a luxury apartment for rent right now, and their monthly payments coming in at $2,800 for a mortgage versus rent. And
Sure.
so then they're kind of thinking, well, $300 more. Yeah, that's a lot, but putting it towards a mortgage versus rent. So I haven't felt the effect of rates as much as maybe people who work with more move-up buyers.
How about the inventory? Challenging to try to. I mean, are you able to get them to find enough properties and get them in the homes?
Yeah, I think 3 out of my last 6 transactions the last couple months have been off market, that I've either found through networking with agents I know who do a lot of business in neighborhoods my clients are looking, and or looking at the Results Facebook page. I've sold a townhouse that was off market in Burnsville on there.
Okay.
Sold a house in St. Louis Park that was off market, networking with another Results agent I know who happened to have a listing coming there. So I think just finding creative strategies and ways when there's low inventory to really find things for your clients. And if I have clients looking in specific neighborhoods, I'm always emailing agents I know who do a lot of business in those neighborhoods and asking if they have anything coming on.
Okay.
And oftentimes they do, or know something that's coming on. So just finding those creative ways this year has definitely, had a few wins.
Because it's hard to be competitive as a first-time home buyer, right? If it's FHA buyer sometimes, right? The only way to be competitive is to write a real high offer, right?
Yeah, and most of my first-time home buyers can't afford an appraisal gap. Some of them can't pay their own closing costs. Mm-hmm. So, what I've been telling a lot of my first-time home buyers who can't pay their own closing costs is, let's wait until something sits on the market a few days, doesn't have any offers, and then let's go see it before you fall in love with it and it sells in multiples.
Yeah.
So a few of my last accepted offers the past couple months were clients just waiting to see what made it through the weekend, going in with an above list priced offer, but asking for closing costs and netting the seller what they want and getting the house. So
that's good discipline. I mean, good for them, right? For being, for being willing to wait and not, and then, but that also is helpful to keep that objectivity, right? I can imagine that would be demoralizing. That could probably be frustrating if they keep falling in love with houses that they're just not going to be able to to win.
Yeah. And I think it always takes, and this sounds really sad, but it always takes the first offer to really show the buyers how serious and competitive the market is right now. I had a buyer recently write, $40,000 over list price, not get the house. And he's like, wow, next time I might need to go 50 over, things like that. But the first one, it's always, a lot of my clients will say, well, we want to come in at list or 5,000 above in certain neighborhoods. It's like you have to go 30, 40 above if you want to get it.
Yeah.
But usually it takes that first offer is like the learning experience of, oh shoot, Ciro's right. The market is really competitive in this neighborhood.
Do you have plans to continue to grow the team? Is that the direction you want to take that? Or is this just sort of, you've got this team as you like it at this moment, you'll see how it goes with your fiance working for you, see how that dynamic works?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will tell me, because last year I did just over 40 transactions, and I think I'm to the point where I could use some help with paperwork, but a lot of people will say hire an assistant. But for me, it's more so the running around on showings with buyers. That takes up and consumes a lot of my time. It's not really the paperwork. So I think now that, Matt has his license, I have Brittany to help with showings. That's kind of the bulk of where the stress and time comes from, is just showings.
Sure.
So I think, sometimes on a Saturday, I'll show 15 houses to 4 or 5 different clients in the spring.
Wow.
And so I think that's when the burnout comes in, where if I had someone who could just do half of the showings on a Saturday for me, because I'll have Saturdays where I'll write 5 or 6 offers in a weekend.
Yeah.
In the past couple months, I've had that a couple different times.
Yeah. There's not enough hours in a Saturday.
Right.
When are you going to nap?
Yeah, right. When am I going to drink the beer? Just kidding. The burnout becomes in the spring, and then I really slow down after that, and the rest of the year is kind of smooth sailing. But
cool. Okay, that's interesting. That just the timing of the summer and everything else. That because I know often. Like October is also really, really busy month, right? Just kind of interesting how it ebbs and flows with in your experience too. Cool. Well, Sierra, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck on the wedding and the house purchase and everything else.
Thank you.
That's an exciting year for you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right.